We're back. It's time for our main event. Jesse Ferguson and Danell Nicholson. They are heavyweights. Jesse Ferguson, a man who I guess at this point defines journeyman, but he is a guy that still has some high hopes. Dave Bontempo takes a look.
Jesse Ferguson is penciled in to fight the Giants and lose. He reversed that trend once by out-hustling Ray Mercer in 1993. This win gave Ferguson a title shot he would lose to Riddick Bowe and cost Mercer major money. Ferguson continued to hang around. This effort against Jeremy Williams in March was one of his worst. Sluggish, reluctant, and overweight, he didn't last. Ferguson said later he could not afford to call in sick and took a dismal performance. What happened to you tonight? We usually see you more active in a fight.
Well, I ain't gonna make any excuses, but I've been very, very sick. That's why my weight was the way that it was. I couldn't run like I wanted to, but I don't have any excuses, and he was a better man tonight.
Ferguson was more like himself against Alex Stewart. He lost, but fought hard. This grizzly veteran is, at 38, a trial horse. But at a lighter weight, 230, he hopes to bring out the best tonight.
At 38, you will see how really strong I am. Because at 230, that's my best weight. I've been there before. I know the difference to being at 230 and being at 245. And believe me, it's a big difference.
And there is Jesse Ferguson. And with 38, says that he is in the kind of shape that will allow him to win this fight. We'll see if that is the case. He did come off a better performance, as you alluded to in the highlights, against Alex Stewart. So that is some solace to him, even though he's had a series of losses. The man he's facing, 27-year-old Danell Nicholson, the former Olympian, is a guy who believes that he is on the precipice of some good things.
Danell Nicholson.
Don't look now, but Danell Nicholson is making a move. The 1992 Olympian was steamrolling until he ran into the Jeremy Williams Express 2 years ago. This setback made him take a more deliberate career path. He has not battled a contender since. Now he owns a 12-fight win streak. The last 6 have come by knockout. One of them was his overpowering effort against William Morris, where his right hand told the story. Top-ranked boxing fans last saw him in August against Anthony Willis. Nicholson was a bit critical of himself in this effort, thinking he had been hit too much, yet he still pounded out a 6-round KO. Nicholson is in the right division at the right time with the right trainer, Emanuel Stewart. If Nicholson wins impressively against tough journeyman Jesse Ferguson, he will be taken more seriously and perhaps face a top 10 opponent.
I'm getting experience. I'm learning the trade a little more. I get good trainers behind me. I'm getting focused more each time out. I just thank God that, hey, I'm able to be here to do that.
Well, and he is here. That's Danell Nicholson with Emanuel Stewart, one of the most well-known figures in the sport of boxing and a very fine trainer who has taken over Nicholson's training. We saw him last against Anthony Willis. That was here on ESPN. And as he makes his way into the ring, Dave, Nicholson, a young man who I think everyone agrees is at a point where he's got to make a move.
And he needs to get into there, and you have to like his level-headedness. He's never gotten too far ahead of himself, and now could be the time if he slips in there. The maturity, a big factor. Some big fights could be around there for him.
All right, let's take a look at the AutoZone keys to victory, Dave.
Well, what they'll have to do tonight is jabbing for Nicholson. That's his calling card. Consistent pressure against the older fighter, make Ferguson move his legs. For Jesse Ferguson, he's got a left hook when he can get in there and use it, and body shots. That's been a pattern in his attack.
All right, so those are the keys to victory. Who will be able to employ them? Jesse Ferguson or Danell Nicholson? Jake Gutierrez is in the center of the ring. Let's go to him now.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated, along with Station Casinos, Budweiser, and ESPN are proud to present the featured bout of the evening, scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. Judges scoring this bout at ringside are Art Lurie, Patricia Jarman, and Dwayne Ford, and your referee in charge is Jay Nady. And now, from Boulder Station Hotel Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada, get set for the Boulder Brawl. This is the main event. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He weighed in at 230 pounds. He wears the blue trunks. He comes to us from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His professional record stands at 20 wins, 15 defeats, 14 wins by knockout. Introducing Jesse Ferguson. And his opponent across the ring. He weighed in at 220 pounds, wearing the gold trunks. He is from Chicago, Illinois, and he was a member of the 1992 United States Olympic boxing team. His professional record, outstanding at 22 wins, only 1 defeat, 17 wins by knockout. Introducing Danell Nicholson.
Jesse Ferguson. They call him the Boogeyman. Very nice man. Always has been a pleasant fellow, and the same could be said of Danell Nicholson across the way from Chicago, who is a former Olympian. He was at the Olympics in 1992 in Barcelona, lost to Felix Sivan, who ultimately went on to win the gold medal. He has only 1 blemish on his record as a pro. That was a loss to Jeremy Williams. And we get it kicked off here in round 1. It is scheduled for 10. Dave mentioned that Ferguson has a very good left hook. He can throw it to the body and the head. When he throws it, and you made that point, Dave, he doesn't always do that, does he?
He needs to get to it, and that's got to be the mode for him. With a veteran like Ferguson, he's either going to come out strongly or he'll fight in spurts, and so the early rounds of a fight would be important from Nicholson's standpoint to try and take Ferguson out of this fight psychologically. Don't let him think he's in there and can steal it.
He has lost 6 of his last 7 fights, Jesse Ferguson, but when you look at the opponents, he lost to Alex Stewart, Jeremy Williams, Larry Holmes, Frank Bruno, Ray Mercer, and Riddick Bowe.
And at 38 years old, he cannot afford the timetable of working his way up. Everything has to be a top fighter, in which most certainly he will be a decided underdog.
And at this juncture, if he does not perform well tonight, I think it will be very tough for a meaningful fight of any kind for Jesse Ferguson to be involved in. And toward that end, he trained pretty hard for this fight.
Even journeymen need a few wins to keep the journeyman tag.
This is true. Halfway through round 1, it is scheduled for 10. Jesse Ferguson in the blue trunks, Danell Nicholson in the gold traditional Croc gym colors. He was trained by Emmanuel Stewart. Nice body work by Danell. Fighting on the inside with Ferguson, which is actually where Ferguson likes to wage his battle.
Nicholson's trying to set up an uppercut here. He chooses the inside route, maybe wants to smother the hook of Ferguson, but you do think he should be on the outside jabbing.
He's in Ferguson's punching range. There's the hook by Ferguson.
Ferguson
Ferguson just hurt him with that hook. He just whacked him with a good left hook, and I think he got Danell Nicholson's attention there.
He really did.
Nicholson has been knocked out as a professional. We pointed that out. Jeremy Williams was the man that did it.
For Nicholson, getting close to Ferguson is like walking into the wrong neighborhood at midnight.
Jesse Ferguson getting hit with some right hands, but he has made Nicholson aware of his presence in this first round. And he's found a home for that left hook, and there couldn't be any better news for Ferguson because that is his punch of choice. So round 1, pretty interesting. Let's see what happens in round 2. Stay with us. And Jesse, the journeyman at 38 years old, may be showing us that he came here to try and take this one.
Good left hooks by Ferguson in the opening round, and the good conditioning he talked to us about this morning. He'd better step it up. He has to maximize it, especially early in this fight. Now, Nicholson not with a big edge in the opening round as far as punches landed, and actually gave the round to Jesse Ferguson.
Nicholson working well on the inside. Nicholson using the jab very effectively. Now here's where he gets in trouble, though, and there he gets whacked with the left hook.
He started with the jab. It seems he came out of this round to send a message that he's not going to get beat on the inside. He doesn't need to send that message. He needs to be outside, and Jesse Ferguson is somebody who you don't go inside on him unless you know he's tired late in the fight.
Nicholson using his jab very effectively. They're trying to set up the right hand.
Yeah, a guy who has 6 straight knockouts, regardless of the opposition, will not change easily to going back to a boxer, even though that might be the style necessitated for this fight.
Certainly the Nicholson jab, though, is landing very well. Ferguson said to us this morning he really needed to be busier. He has not thrown a lot of punches. Seems like he is still loading up and waiting for one big shot. In his fight with Alex Stewart, Ferguson came down from 257 to 229. For this fight, he remained constant about it that way.
Which means that he should be coming out here exploding, and he does look the part of a slimmer fighter, somebody who should do more offensive work, but he needs to be very busy here.
Again on the inside, neither man doing a lot of valuable work here, but Nicholson doing what has been done.
Ferguson trying to use the ropes for leverage. It didn't work there. Nicholson trying to explode with his left hook. He backed off and did get something going there. Nicholson wants that uppercut. He's in tight like this, but he's a little bit too close for it.
Body work by Jesse Ferguson. So round 2 comes to a halt. See what 3 has in store for us.
Larry Holmes, Riddick Bowe.
Riddick Bowe was
the fight he got by beating Mercer.
And that wasn't actually a title shot, so he was definitely the barometer of a champion there, because that was in a world title match. Jesse Ferguson coming out here against Danell Nicholson. Nicholson starts things out with a lead right hand.
And now some better distance by Nicholson in the beginning of this round, staying a little bit more to the outside.
We're in round 3. It is scheduled for 10 here at a jam-packed Boulder Station ballroom.
And Nicholson opening up. Remember, it was 28-22 after the first round. There, he really opened it up nicely and had a very good second round for himself. Still good percentages for both fighters.
Nice movement with his feet by Nicholson as he tries to spin Ferguson around and land some pretty good combinations on the inside.
And again, muscling, but here, at least, as you said, moving more, not staying right in front of Jesse Ferguson. You want to make Jesse Ferguson have to move here and expend that gas tank.
And how would you be having this one scored?
A good first round for Ferguson, and Nicholson not only winning the second round, but bordering on taking permanent control.
So we are in round 3, approaching the halfway point of this round. And Danell Nicholson, the 27-year-old from Chicago, facing Jesse Ferguson, 11 years his senior. Jay Nady with a warning to Nicholson for low blows.
An appropriate warning, as he was trying to dig downstairs. And again, he's more effective outside.
There's really no reason for Danell Nicholson to just walk in and do this, is there?
Nope.
Or is there any that you can think of?
Other than trying to score with the uppercut at some point, not really. You don't need to wear down Ferguson's body. You get into exchanges like this. Basically, you make what could be a 70-30 fight to your advantage, a 50-50 fight.
And isn't he committing a cardinal sin, hooking with the hooker? You don't hook with the left hooker in boxing unless that's your stocking strategy.
You have the better hook, yes.
Under a minute left to go here in round 3.
Nicholson seems to be taking the track well. He's 38 years old. I'll wear him down. But you can also wear him down by being on the outside and making him move, which he's not doing now.
A right hand stunned Nicholson. Oh, and then Ferguson falls. Was he knocked down or did he fall down?
Fall. It will not.
Fortuitous for Danell Nicholson. Just at the point he had been whacked by Ferguson, Ferguson slipped and fell down. Now, Nicholson thinks he's hurt. I don't know if he is, but it could be dangerous for him to come in. That fall took a lot out of Ferguson, though. He hit the deck hard, and even if it wasn't from a punch. So we stay here. We follow Danell Nicholson into his corner where Emmanuel Stewart will have some words. Let's listen in.
Just get out and work your left jab, Doc. You got the golden hand. If you box with your left hand, you're good as guys. He's tired.
He's dangerous.
Jesse is tired, but you got to get out and use your left hand, baby, okay? Box to me. You got a golden left hand, and you're not using it enough. Use your left hand and use your feet. Try not. Make him use his legs. The man don't have any legs.
That's your time,
It's
Doc.
just boxing. You don't have to lay inside there and fight this man.
If you want.
Use your legs.
Well, Ferguson lands a nice uppercut as Nicholson is where he should not be. And then Ferguson slipped right in the middle of his would-be carnage. And that did take a lot out of him.
I love that phrase. His would-be carnage. That's good. I'm going to mark that one down, Dave. Please use it again for me.
Right.
Well, you heard Emmanuel Stewart, and boy, he was saying what Dave and I have been saying throughout. If Nicholson uses his jab and moves a little, he takes the legs away from Jesse Ferguson, and he said there's no reason for you to lay on the inside with him.
And appropriately so, that advice. Nicholson's ahead, 69-51 in the power shots. That's not a big enough statistical edge against Jesse Ferguson in the power shot department. Now, there's the overall punches, but the power shots, there's no need to be at that volume at this stage of the fight with him.
Nicholson with a good right hand, but he gets inside, and what happens? He gets hit with a left hook. He just does not believe that if he's on the inside, he's not going to knock Jesse Ferguson out, and they're telling him in the corner that might not be true.
And some of that goes back to the fact that Nicholson has been finishing guys off. 6 knockouts in a row, and a fighter can start to think like a puncher and not go back to the style which befits him in a particular match. And against Jesse Ferguson, don't wake him up. Stay on the outside, outbox him, you may not lose a round.
Now, you know I'm not one to denigrate boxers, and I'm not doing it, but I want to point out, those knockouts came against people like Mark Young, John Ruiz, John Jackson, Terry Anderson, Larry Davis, William Morris, Art Card, and Anthony Willis. Those are not a group of stellar heavyweights who will punch back at you.
And that is what leads to the fact that the knockouts can be developed even while bad habits might be going on.
Absolutely.
You can get away with things in those type of fights and then walk into a Jesse Ferguson without jabbing your way in because it worked against those guys.
A minute left to go here in round 4. Good right by Nicholson. Ferguson certainly does look like an improved version than when we saw him fight Jeremy Williams, but then let's give Jeremy Williams some credit for his effort against Ferguson.
But Jesse Ferguson can't beat fighters at this level without them helping out.
That is a very, very good point. They have got to do something tactically or strategically to keep him in the fight, like Ray Mercer did when he was so out of shape and presumably had a back problem, and he could not move at all on Jesse Ferguson.
Ferguson stole that one, and here you've got Nicholson willing to get inside and give Jesse Ferguson the only chance he'll have. But that does make it interesting as far as this fight goes.
Well, it works for us, doesn't it? Round 4. we're coming to a conclusion, and it's been kind of an intriguing round, but one in which Nicholson probably has done the best work. We'll be back as we head toward the halfway point. As he comes out for round 5, and Danell Nicholson goes right after him with the jab and the right hand. And that is what they want from him. Stay on the outside, use the jab as a rangefinder, and then bomb away with the right.
And when he does that, it will be tough for Ferguson to get his left hook in, which is his key. Well, Nicholson would not be happy with the punches landed there. Ferguson staying very close with him. And another stat is that Nicholson is only 11 ahead in the jab department. In this kind of a fight, that's a statistic he should dominate. He needs that. So it's the wrong kind of a fight stylistically and numerically for Nicholson.
And yet with it all, Jesse Ferguson not doing that much. And is he doing enough to indicate to the judges that he wants to win this fight?
And Nicholson is certainly ahead in this fight, it would appear. Ferguson's had his opportunities, just not taking advantage. And again, what's this for Nicholson?
Laying in, which they didn't want him to do. And again, he may even get away with this at this point if Jesse Ferguson's tired, but maybe not against someone else. Nice uppercut. Jesse looks tired right now.
Did get his left hook in, but took a lot. And then showed some sportsmanship.
Boy, did he ever. Good for Jesse Ferguson. Even though he wants to win this fight, he did not take a shot at Nicholson when he was tied up in the ropes. Good for him.
And Nicholson with a low blow and got away with it.
I got to tell you, the way boxing has been today, I can't think of too many fighters that wouldn't have taken a shot at him. That is epidemic in this sport. Right hand by Nicholson. So Danell, who did not win the gold medal in 1992, lost a controversial decision to Felix Savandi, Cuban heavyweight, who went on to win the gold medal. He thought he could have gotten that decision, and I was there. It could have gone either way. Nice right by Nicholson. Ferguson, who was reduced now to whacking with the left hook, and that is his big weapon. There is some, I believe, some blood or an abrasion around the right eye of Nicholson.
And Nicholson showing his first signs of fatigue in this fight as well.
Both men look a little tired. Nice uppercut by Nicholson. Ferguson trying to fight off the ropes. Jay Nady with a lot of work. It's a good thing Jay is a big man, because just trying to separate these guys is not easy. So round 5, an interesting one in that it is competitive, though not necessarily action-filled. On tempo, coming to you in our first visit to Boulder Station here in Las Vegas. Good right hand by Danell Nicholson.
Nicholson could finish this fight if he really wants to step it up.
And if he does, he should do it in a smart way, which is still from the outside, the way he's trying to do it.
Still from the outside, move in and out. Don't let Jesse Ferguson throw a left hook in desperation, because he does have a lot on it. Nicholson opening it up slightly, but not in a dramatic way. Good percentage landed. Excellent percentage for Ferguson. That's revealing. It also shows he's not active enough.
If you land 67% in the fight, you should be putting yourself in a position to win it, and he's not throwing enough to necessarily do that. There's something we haven't seen much of, the Ferguson jab. Seemed like forever ago, but in 1986, a young Mike Tyson fought Jesse Ferguson on national TV, and Jesse Ferguson at that point gave him a very tough fight before losing in the 6th round. That was when Jesse was considered quite an up-and-comer himself. This is round 6 we're in right now, scheduled for 10.
And Jesse Ferguson was able to hang around 9 more years and get himself in position. But he's at a spot now where some wins have to keep coming if he's going to keep his career.
That loss was something of a turning point for him.
He always seems to be the guy brought in at the last minute to fight the contender and the other guy who looks good. He takes those fights and hopes that he can roll the dice and come up with a big number.
And in this case, he did have 4 or 5 weeks to prepare for this fight. That's why he's in a little better shape. There's the hook landing, but I just don't know if he has the wherewithal at 38 to deal with a young man, even though Nicholson may not be quite up to where some of those other opponents were.
But at 230 for Jesse Ferguson, this is an acid test in the sense that he really should be firing off the blocks. We should see a lot more from him at this weight because he's in shape. And the fact that he has not been active may be the most revealing thing to him in this bout.
Nicholson missing with the right hand. And as we wind down here in round 6, we'll see if young Danell can turn up the heat. Round 7. Danell Nicholson and Jesse Ferguson. Ferguson is in the blue trunks. Danell Nicholson is in the Kronk gold. Nicholson, the 27-year-old from Chicago, who comes in here with a record of 22-1, 17 KOs, and Jesse Ferguson 20-15 with 14 KOs.
Well, the jabs through round 6. Danell Nicholson should be way out front in this department. Ferguson has landed more percentage-wise, Nicholson more, but he should be dominating that. And another big stat, Ferguson 19 for 26 in the last round, 73%. I don't even know if he won it.
He's landing. When he throws, he's landing. He's not throwing that often.
He may need 90% to win a round.
Nicholson leaning on him. They don't want him to do that.
Now, they've been pretty calm with him in the corner, basically for a fighter who has gone out and done his own thing in there, going inside when they prefer him on the outside.
Well, Stewart has told him that, but maybe he just got tired of telling him.
Yeah, Jesse Ferguson is one of these guys, no matter how many rounds you put in the bank against him, you just never know when all of a sudden he might do something big in the middle of a round.
We're in round 7, halfway through the round. He joined us late, Johnny Tapia, with a brilliant performance against Raul Rios. Well, at least excellence, not brilliant. He won the fight rather handily, and in spots did look brilliant. Big hook by Ferguson. Let's see if it had any impact on Nicholson.
Just the point we were making about now, Nicholson turned his shoulders as he tried to launch the right hand, and Ferguson sneaked his left hook in there. That was the only shot he threw, but he got it in.
There's Ferguson bouncing off the ropes nicely. We haven't seen too much of that. He's allowed Nicholson to just push him on the ropes and languish there. Nice right hand by Ferguson, and there's the hook. Didn't have impact. Nicholson is in a very dangerous spot right now. He's winning, he's whacking Ferguson around, but he's standing in a position where Ferguson can punch him.
His arms are out to the side, he's got a big target. Ferguson will find it if he's able.
Meanwhile, we have to give Danell Nicholson credit for landing lots of punches and winning that exchange in a huge way. And he did stay out of harm's way during that exchange. Hey, maybe he knows something we don't. He might know that Ferguson hasn't really hurt him with any of those punches. We'll be back for round 8. Danell Nicholson heads into round 8 against Jesse Ferguson. It is scheduled for 10. Jesse Ferguson, the 38-year-old journeyman, and Danell Nicholson, 27, who got a late start in boxing, was our Olympic representative in the heavyweight division in Barcelona. Lost to Felix Savant, the excellent Cuban heavyweight.
Ferguson is just a target right now, and this is a very dangerous situation for him. He's taking a lot of shots that have been the hardest shots that Nicholson is throwing, and he better do something real fast or he could be stopped here. Nicholson a little more in round 7.
Boy, that left eye of Ferguson, my, is that close.
And that's one thing, he cannot see the right hands from Nicholson coming because of that left eye. And he's becoming more and more of a target. Nicholson starting to find the range with heavier and heavier volumes of punches.
And as you look at Ferguson here, we did mention that he got himself into the best shape possible. If he can't beat Danell Nicholson at 230 or fight better than this, it really might be time for Jesse to think about retiring.
He really cannot give himself the best chance.
And we are not given to saying that, you and I. We're not people that sit here and start to retire fighters willy-nilly like a lot of people do, just because they might have a loss or two. But in this instance, it could be dangerous for him to continue against these big punching heavyweights.
It's been dangerous for him the last round and a half, as he's just, his guts is keeping him in, and that's it. But Nicholson really has a big opening here.
With that eye closed, I'm not even sure they might not think about stopping this.
I think that they could if Nicholson really steps it up.
Under a minute left here in round 8. Danell Nicholson now pounding away against Jesse Ferguson. Ferguson now is reduced to very little offensively. Only 9 punches have been thrown by Jesse Ferguson in this round.
And what that shows in a different respect is somebody slowing down so much that he can't defend himself either. Not just throwing punches, but a bigger target.
Well, Danell Nicholson certainly wanted to win here tonight against, even though he's a journeyman, against a guy that has been in against tough people, and it would appear that he is getting it. They had to hear, and they said this fight is over, and Danell Nicholson gets his 23rd win as a professional, and if it wasn't totally artistic, he did come on in the last few rounds to make it rather definitive.
He stepped it up, left no doubt about it, and took advantage of the opening there. In this case, the closure of the eye of Jesse Ferguson, which he saw and was able to work on, and that's the appropriate call. Jesse Ferguson said it, and they knew it right there, and it did close in a hurry.
Reminiscent of the scene after his last fight in which you interviewed him, and he had both eyes puffed up at that point. So Jesse Ferguson now has taken a lot of punishment in recent fights, and he is such a good guy, you don't want to see him take a lot of punishment.
And a lot of the punishment he took, the worst was in the last 2 to 2.5 rounds of this fight. So the stoppage could not have come at a better time. He fought on even terms, took his best opportunities early, but clearly he had no chance to win and no chance even to defend himself. So this is the right time.
And meanwhile, Danell Nicholson, the 27-year-old from Chicago, there's the family. You had a chance to schmooze with them after the last fight. It looks like you're going to get another shot in interviewing that young lady.
Well, I hope she gives me an interview this time.
I love the bow. And she refused to comment last time.
Oh, she wouldn't give me any words.
Wow. You're an investigative reporter. I know you can browbeat her into saying something. If Danell Nicholson gets a win, they'll want to step him up one more notch, obviously, to see if he's ready for contention. And as tonight, it's kind of probably a mixed report card, but we'll find that out from Emmanuel Stewart. Right now, Jake Gutierrez in the center of the ring. Let's go to him.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the advice of the doctor, referee Jay Nady stops the bout at the end of the 8th round. The winner by TKO, Danell Nicholson.
Danell Nicholson gets a win here after 8 rounds. Gets his 23rd win, and the whole family is happy. And why not? Dave Bontempo will be back to chat with him. Stay with us. Seen Danell Nicholson, and there's the happy family. Emmanuel Stewart and his wife and child. And let's go up to Dave Bontempo.
All right, Al, thank you very much. Well, Diamond on here. Diamond, what do you think of Daddy's performance tonight?
That's great. That's great.
All right, Daddy passed the test. Danell here. You fought inside more than we thought you might tonight. What caused that?
Yeah, he was slipping a little better than I thought. But I took care of business like I said I would. I thank God. I want to thank everybody at Crunch, Chicago for the power, and all my family, my mom, I love you. My papa passed away, and all my coaches, and my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and my baby.
All right, they're all in there. Now, talk about Was his left hook good, the one that he caught you with, and did you make adjustments?
Well, I had to make adjustments. He threw it. But like I said, thank God I had my legs and everything. I just couldn't work my jab like I wanted to. But I showed the fans that I can work inside.
When did you sense the fight turning here?
When he started laying on the ropes a little more. I started putting my body on a little bit. Well, I should have stayed outside a little more. But that's why I got hit with a couple shots I shouldn't have. But we've been working hard. All my trainers. We've been working hard.
Emmanuel Stewart said use your legs more, stay on the outside more. Yeah. What were you thinking when that was going on?
Well, I know I got good legs, but it's just that I couldn't time him like I wanted to. But he came to fight, and I thank him for coming to fight. And I'm tired of sometimes these easy fights, but sometimes I show a better fight. But today I proved to everybody I'm tough. I got a good chin, but we'll come back next time.
Okay, thank you, Danell. Let's get a report card here from the professor, Manny Stewart. What did you think of what he did well tonight? What you would like him to work on?
Well, I thought he fought a good fight tonight. I was satisfied with it, considering everything, you know. And this was Jesse came to fight. There's a lot of different Jesses, but this Jesse came in. He was in good shape. He'd been training for 3 months, and he was on a mission. And I knew that he was going to be very determined. And you know, Doc surprised me. He fought inside very well as outside. But his best fight was outside, but it was still good to see him fight inside. I thought he did very well tonight. I was very, very satisfied with everything. I would give him an 8.
Okay, he gets the 8 from Emmanuel Stewart. Let's send it down to a guy that always gets a 10, Al Bernstein.
Well, thank you, Dave. As we look at Danell Nicholson take care of Jesse Ferguson, a big boxing fan coming up next. Guy you know very well, but not necessarily from the world of boxing. We'll be right back. See you again.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Okay, Bob Shapiro, boxing fan extraordinaire, a man who had the courage to fight with James Toney.